so quiet in here.
That's what I said.
Okay. Well, welcome everybody.
Thank you.
It's been a little over a year since we've done one of these. We'll see if I remember this information. So first off, I'd like to thank everybody for their time in coming. I know your time is valuable, so I'll try to keep this brief. And then for the students, maybe we might have a little bit of time to train after class, after the presentation, so stick around. Okay. So, Golden Shield Qigong. So before we start, I'll just briefly talk a little bit about me. I'm not that important. The tradition and the training is what's important. I've been doing this training since 1999. I've been teaching since about 2003. This training has completely changed all aspects of my life, and that's why I'm here tonight, to share this information with you. Whether you guys train or not, hopefully I'll share some useful information for you guys that can maybe change the way you guys think about certain things. Okay. Don't believe a word I say. Why would I say that? Anybody? Because I can only come from my personal experience. So I'll tell you about my experience, whether you believe it or not, but try certain things out and see for yourself. See if it resonates with you, if it makes any sense, and then go from there. What is Qigong? So I like the terminology technology. So I like to call it the ultimate technology for modern health. So technology can just be a better way of doing something. So in this instance, technology happens to be an ancient technology. Obviously, the ancient people in the past could do things that we still don't understand how they do it today. So in regards to health, we're going the wrong direction with modern science, genetically modified food, fertilizers, hormones, all kinds of stuff. So we need to kind of go backwards and model things from the past. What were people doing in the past that was so successful? So Qigong for me is a really interesting technology to get us back into a great state of health in this day and age. So ancient technology, where did this training come from? Our lineage came through Dr. Zhang. So Dr. Zhang is right here. He was number 19 of Master Yang. So Master Yang is this guy right here. This is his wife, mother, and number 17 in that corner. Master Yang was a really interesting master. He didn't teach anybody this training until he turned 50. When he turned 50, he taught 18 students and then closed the doors. Then he met Dr. Zhang. So prior to that, he taught martial arts and Tai Chi to the general public and also trained the Japanese military. So this training comes from a martial background. Master Yang's teacher, Master Mi, only taught 2 students, Master Yang and Master Bo. But through the Tai Chi with Master Yang in the park, he realized how valuable Dr. Zhang was, and that he knew stuff that he didn't know for himself, but realized it was valuable and true. And he decided to open up the doors to teach number 19, which is not normal, and allow Dr. Zhang to be the lineage holder of this tradition. So like I said, this training came from a martial background, but Dr. Zhang is choosing to use it for health and longevity. So back to this question, what is Qigong? A lot of people have heard the term Qi or energy and have used it kind of loosely. There are hundreds of translations of this. But if we break down just the character, of the Chinese character for Qi, we look at this section right here, they call it rice. And then 2, this section right here is like a mountain. And then 3, the dragon breath or steam. So it's like fire, rice, steam, and Qi is all collectively that experience. Dr. Zhang gave me a really interesting example one time talking about Chinese medicine. And Chinese medicine and Qigong go hand in hand because the premise behind both of them is using this energy that's called Qi. So we know how to use Qi in Qigong, and we know how to use Qi in acupuncture, but ultimately we don't know what it is, and we can't explain it. So we had this castle floating in the sky. So he talked about this really intricate system built on a foundation that's not scientific, that we don't have evidence of, but yet it's very, very empirical and very useful. So in the future, he says he'll teach us more about what Qi is. But for now, we'll just equate Qi as energy. Some people say breath, but breath is a little bit limiting because it's more than just breath. Gong. Gong can mean work or to cultivate or skill. So combined together, it's Qigong is energy cultivation or energy work. Qigong is actually a relatively new term. I'm not sure on the exact date, but less than 200 years old. And it kind of comes from the kind of physics idea of like work and horsepower and joules. It's that type of output energy from a practice. But Daoyin goes back 4,000 or 5,000 years. So they have manuals and textbooks of Qigong exercises, but they call it Daoyin. Daoyin means to guide and to stretch, meaning using your mind to guide the energy through the body, through the meridians, through the muscles to create health and balance. So Qigong is a new term, very much like Tai Chi. Tai Chi is a really recent martial art in regards to like Kung Fu and other things that go back thousands of years. Tai Chi only a few hundred years, if that. Kung Fu. Why do I even bring up Kung Fu? Kung Fu is a really interesting term that we can kind of carry over some of that information into this context. Kung Fu means it's a skill cultivated through work. So what does that mean? So in China, if you go to a master chef or to a painter and you see their work, you can compliment them by saying, oh wow, you have good Kung Fu. Meaning that it took years of cultivating the skill, hours and hours and hours to get to this level of mastery. So Kung Fu isn't just fighting and martial arts, it's actually a high-level skill cultivated through time and effort and work. Does that kind of make sense? So practice makes anybody? Permanent. You can do so many things wrong over and over again, it's never going to make it perfect. So we want to make sure you're doing it the right way and with the purpose and focus, with intention, and to get the results that you actually want. Repetition is a mother of skill. Doing something over and over and over again can create this inherent habit. And if we're doing it in line with a particular modality, then we can get the results that we want. So we want to repeat over and over and over again, especially we want to model success. We don't want to model someone who's not getting the results that you want. We want to repeat and practice and do these skills over time, and then we can get to where we want to head to. Two kind of habits. There's probably more than that, but I like these two. Doing and not doing. Once again, it's all about habits. So there's habits that you do, and there's habits that you don't. How many of us want to go to the gym 7 days a week, but we don't? Or how many of us want to meditate every day, but we don't? So it's all about cultivating that skill, cultivating that habit, getting that pattern of doing these things on a regular basis. So we have to start small, and then we can work up big. One of my teachers says, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And I really like that saying because it makes a lot of sense. So when we do the Qigong in this class, at first we do 5 days in a row, and then after that we recommend 3 times a week. Some people do more than that, some people will do less than that, but we have a routine, a habit. So, but how we do our Qigong practice is with a lot of intention, a lot of focus, a lot of purpose. And when you start cultivating that skill in one tiny environment, it overflows into so many other areas of your life, whether it's your work focus or your relationships or how you cook or how you relate to the seasons. It's unbelievable how much this carries over into other areas of your life. So we're not just doing Qigong 30 minutes 3 times a week, we're doing it over all day long. There's practice about changing the hardware and updating the software. I know this is getting kind of techy, but what does that even mean? If we have the most updated computer and we're running Windows 95, we're not doing anything, we're not using that computer to its full potential. So a lot of times we're running old programs from things that we learned when we were a kid that aren't even appropriate anymore. Or parts of our body are starting to break down and they're not working at full capacity. So we need to put a little bit of focus and either repair those sections or improve upon them, bring them to where they're working at higher capacity. So how do we do that? So in Chinese Qigong, in Chinese medicine, we have 3 concepts, Jing, Qi, and Shen. Jing can be loosely related to the body or body essences or concentration of body elements. So for men, sperm is the most refined Jing. In the woman, it's the ovum or the egg. But it doesn't mean just that. It can be sweat, it can be saliva, it can be blood. So it can be the tissue. So we just look at Jing loosely as the whole body. But if we want to get specific, it can be the sexual energy as well. Qi, we talk a little bit about bioenergy, information, electromagnetic energy, light is Qi. Shen, mind or body, mind or spirit. And we won't touch too much on that. But through Qigong, we want to cultivate, we want to integrate all three of these pieces together in the moment. So it's like hitting a bullseye every time. How many times have you guys been to a gym and you've seen people do this? Watch TV while they're exercising, or read a magazine while they're running. It's like, are they integrating their three treasures, the Jing, the Qi, and the Shen? Or are they just moving the physical body and burning calories, or blowing off steam? So back to Qigong, it's all about with purpose. What are you doing and why are you doing it? Are we on the treadmill just to run, just to burn calories? Historically, where we came from, we ran because we had a purpose. We were running to get food, or running away because we didn't want to be someone's food. Or we needed to communicate from one village to another. So there was purpose in running. Now, we run just to blow off steam and burn calories. But if you plug in purpose into your exercise, then you can turn your exercise into Qigong practice, and now you're practicing Qigong several times a day, not just in here. Stress. Stress good or bad? Anybody?
Good.
Oh, exactly. So they recently decided that, yeah, there are good types of stress. So you got eustress and distress. Distress will break the body down, and eustress will make the body grow. So what could be, and if we demonstrate later, what might be eustress for me could definitely be distress for you, or vice versa. So we really have to look at how we're relating to stress. And we can change the way we think about it just by shifting our mind. But there are certain things that we do, and we put ourselves into certain environments that can actually make us thrive. If we weren't put in stressful environments, we would never grow or evolve. So, there's a good story talking about growing trees in biodomes. Because there was no wind, they didn't develop a very good root system. So they grew really straight, but they had no root system. They would fall over all the time. So it just shows you that without wind, you don't have a strong root system. Versus, look at these palm trees on the beach. They got a good root system, or they would fall over. So there was a need for the wind. It gets off the old skin or the old bark. The weak leaves. So it strengthens the root. So with the training, we want to put the body into a stressful environment, but in a controlled way. And another purpose for actually doing this training is to combat this. We have so many different types of stress, whether it's lack of exercise, whether it's the air that we breathe inside, or the food that we're eating. So we have so many distresses in the body or in our environment that we need to combat and actually overcome. Software. So we talked about hardware, we talked about software, and I'll tie it all back together. But software, why would I even bring up software? The way we think is very, very important. And how we think about things is really important. So if you start to shift how you even view things, it can affect your health so much. We know just by watching a scary movie, it releases all kinds of hormones. Or even as simple as just closing your eyes and imagine biting into a lemon, you start to salivate. Like just that thought caused the physiological reaction in your body that actually produced saliva. So it just shows you how powerful the mind is. So we have to pay attention to what are we thinking, and are there any mind viruses stuck in the hardware that we need to clear because they're not supporting us or not useful. So with Qigong, we focus on not only the body, the mind, but also how we're thinking too. I like this quote. It's been said for ages that the greatest limitation of those man imposes on himself, and thus the greatest obstacle to success is a mental one. We shoot ourselves in the foot all the time just by thinking bad thoughts. It's like, oh, I'm clumsy, or I always forget my keys. It's like, quit saying that, because you're not going to allow yourself to be anything different as long as you keep associating to that. So we have to start changing the way we think. And just by doing this, we can affect our health in deep, deep, profound ways. So another way of looking at it is paradigms. So you can have old beliefs, but you can also have certain ways that you view the world. What do you see in the picture? Can you guys see it at all? Anybody? Pelican or something?
I see a duck.
You see a duck?
Rabbit.
And a rabbit.
Oh.
I see both. But once you see it, you can see both, back and forth, back and forth. So how we view the world, is the glass half full or half empty? Is the world evil and everything's destructive, or is it beautiful? So it's where are you putting your focus? What do you want to focus on? Do you want to focus on the good, or do you want to focus on the bad? That's why all different traditions talk about gratitude and how valuable it is. So if you focus on what you have and appreciate, you're just going to get more of that, and you just feel happier and better. So start to question how you view the world and see if there's any changes that you need to do. Benefits. I can list off all different types of benefits, but the best way to find out is just by doing the practice, because everyone receives different benefits. I've had people who have completely reversed their osteoporosis. Had a woman, she had her bone density at all these different ages, and then just kept increasing. My mom, when she went to this training, she grew an inch. I grew 3/4 of an inch last year because I told myself I wanted to grow an inch. It was time for me to renew my license, and I asked the person at the desk if I can change my height from 6 to 6'1", and she said sure. And then 9 months later, I was at Billy's office, and I measured myself, and I grew 3/4 of an inch. So now I gotta shoot for 6'2", so I can land at 6'1". More energy, better energy management, physical vitality. Those are just to name a few. Who wouldn't want more energy? Are everyone content with the level of energy they have? Energy management. Why would I even bring up energy management? Or even physical vitality. So we'll go into energy management because I like this concept. Once again, this is a new paradigm for some people, or a new way of looking at things that they never even thought about. As I alluded to earlier, how I talked about how some people, when they have a stressful day, they go to the gym, and what do? They want to go to the gym and blow off steam. That concept makes no sense in Qigong, because that steam is valuable to us. It's our vitality, it's our energy. And why leave it at the gym? Why spend it there when we can just circulate it internally and build it up? So what does a Prius do? It uses energy pretty efficiently compared to all the other models of cars out there. Typical gasoline car. But what does it do? It chooses to use its energy when it needs to. So obviously the gasoline is a precious energy source, so it wants to conserve it as much as possible. So when it's at a stoplight, it runs on an electric engine. And then as you start accelerating, at some point when there's a need for it, the gasoline engine kicks on. So how many of us are just on or off all day long? We're go, 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 go all day long, and then at night we crash. And repeat over and over again. Now what if somewhere along the ways you can turn down your energy and just use the energy that's necessary for the task at that given moment, and then turn it back up when you need to. So I brought this little candle because I've been thinking about this analogy for a long time. And so this is an old-fashioned oil candle, but oil is the fuel and the wick and the flame. Most people are like this all day long, and some people even say they're like a candle burning both ends at the same time. Now, which is going to burn out faster? Which is going to burn up all the fuel first? Candle like this, or candle like that? So if we have a set amount of energy and to use over time, which one would you rather be? Like this? Oops. Or like that. So the technology I want to introduce to you is that you have control over that. And that at given moments, you can be like that. And then when you're not, you can turn the energy down. Just like a dimmer switch. Sure, at night, power went out and I want to read a book, I might want the light like that. But during the day, it's useless for me to have that energy because I have the sun energy to use. So let me get rid of this. But do you guys understand that concept a little bit visually, like how we're using our energy? We can choose to access that energy when we need to and then turn it down when we need to. So to get centered, be present, and just calm down. versus go, 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 go. So many of my patients come in every day and they don't even sit down to eat. I'm just like, 5 minutes? You can't just turn everything off just for a little bit? And then people think, well, I don't want to be sleepy and quiet and turn on and be a monk all the time. Well, you don't have to do that either. You can find a nice medium and choose to go up and down, up and down. You ever see a tiger? Tigers are very, very powerful animals. But have you ever seen a tiger angry or about to, you're trying to take its cub away from the mother? It's fierce, but it's not in that fierce mode all the time. It's only fierce when it needs to. Or like you see a cat about to pounce on a mouse. It's not excited all the time, but it chooses and conserves its energy for the moment that it needs to use it. So Qigong, especially in this system, we do teach you how to activate that energy, to brighten it up, to get to a higher state than you're used to being into, and then also to go the opposite end and to be in a really neutral, calm, meditative state on times when you want to as well. So with this practice, kind of tying in the hardware and the software, and the Jing, the Qi, and the Shen, the focus, our practice uses the mind, the body, and the energy. A lot of systems will focus only on the spirit and just be very spiritual, and the body is useless, and let's transcend the body and let's get enlightenment. And that's a great path. But what if you have poor health and you don't have the energy? Then your mind clarity, your mind level isn't as strong. So we want to use the physical body to get the vitality of the physical body up, which will feed into the system and make more energy. And then the energy will feed into the spirit to where you have a lot more mental clarity for development of the spirit and other practices if you want to use it for that. So our practice, we want to change the container. We want to change your physical body by stimulating it and over a gradual, incremental phases. So hot tea. We put hot tea in here, and my tea is kind of lukewarm now. And if I had a different glass, it'd probably still be really hot right now. So one idea is heat energy is a type of qi. It's energy, it's heat. Now, as it was hot earlier, the steam was coming out of it, so how could I have kept it warm for a lot longer? So if I would have put a lid on it. Or even better, I put it into a thermos that has like nice insulation with a lid. So we want to change the container to where it can hold the energy better. Many of our containers have lots of leaks and we're leaking energy in so many different areas. So we want to tonify the body, strengthen the body to where we can access and hold more energy. Because the universe is really smart. It's not going to give you more energy than you can hold. So you go to some Qigongs involved seeing a high-level master, and what he does, he transfers a lot of energy over to you, so it opens all the meridians and stuff like that. But if you have lots of leaks and your container can't hold much energy, then that energy just goes straight out. No use. At the acupuncture school I went to, they brought over a master one time, and he did these Qigong healing treatments. His treatments were $1,000 a treatment to transfer energy over to you. And then I just thought it was silly because most of these people felt good for 24 hours and then same health issues. It didn't fix much because their body couldn't sustain it, couldn't hold the energy. But as we train the body and cultivate it and develop it, all of a sudden it changes the container to where you can actually hold more energy. So by stimulating the body in a controlled environment, as just like with the wind blowing the tree, we build the body little by little, get stronger and stronger. Build a strong foundation, keep adding more layers to it. And by using the body, it's a nice link to reinforce being in the moment. Because as we tap the body, each time we tap the body goes, oh, what's going on? And it's like throwing a bullseye every single time. So there's level of integration. We've all been to yoga classes trying to meditate, and we kept thinking, oh, what am I going to eat after class? Or I need to do laundry. But if someone's swinging a bat at you and trying to hit you in the ribs, you're not thinking about anything else other than, I better be prepared. So we have little tricks within the system through this lineage that help us cultivate little by little in a very controlled way to get the development of health and longevity that we want. Everyone doing okay? Any topics I should touch? Kind of spacing out now. Oh, let's do a little tapping. Okay. Everyone stand up for a second. And let's spend just about 10 15 seconds to